Hello Chipsters, it's Gav. We're back with another video. Yes, you can't escape them. I did say I'd do a quick reveal of the Few bust. Mine looks absolutely nothing like that. I wish it did. But we're all on that big long path up the mountainside of learning how to paint figures. Right, what did I think of it? First class, I've got to say. A bit of filling around the arms. Sometimes companies can get away with it, sometimes they can't, depending on obviously the placement of the arms and folds and fabric or whatever, however they can. But most of the time you will have to do a bit of filling of some description. How do I fill mine? Either epoxy, Magic Sculpt epoxy putty, I'm going like that because actually it's in that cupboard back there. But the 2-part epoxy putty, I put it in a old plastic milk top jar, make a little donut shape, and I use a bit of IPA because that evaporates quite quick rather than water, and also I'll make a really thin sausage, and obviously if the gap requires it, make a thin sausage, place it round, knead it in with a cocktail stick, and then maybe put another piece on depending on what you need, and then use them all what I call the slurry for want of a better word, that you've made up like a paste, and then I'll paste that in as well, or use it on thinner cracks. I believe you're probably going to be able to do the CA glue, and sometimes I pin them, sometimes I don't. For the life of me, I can't remember. If you'd have to have a look at my other videos, I can't remember if I pinned this one or not. The Oiran bust, which I'm going to start painting next, isn't pinned. I thought it was supported enough not to warrant that. But that's how I fill it. Mould lines, there wasn't a lot. Obviously usual casting plugs on the base, and most of them were in places that weren't a problem. I'm still learning, and I'm not very good at softening the resin, so I did in the end bend the one pipe. The electric pipes are bent slightly, and they are very thin, so you've got to be careful bending those. There's another thicker pipe that, because where I've put the electric pipes, I'm saying all this, I might as well just show you. In the end, I didn't use that because I couldn't get it to sit natural, if that makes sense. But I don't think it detracts from the finished piece. Really enjoyed it. I'm getting slightly better with my faces. The photographs probably won't show it. I'm not a photographer. I was actually watching Night Shift's stuff on photography, and it still went over my head, most of it. As soon as I start seeing numbers and that, I just go, I can't work it out. I've always said that that's the one problem when you often need photographs to show your work off, whether it's figures, whether it's scale models. But it's not a thing that I really want to pick up. I'm not a photographer. I don't want to be a photographer, so it's just something else. You've only got so much time in the day, and that, So unfortunately, they are what they are. I've shot this. I've got big tripod out here. I've put it in a big light box. So you name it, it won't fit in my little light box because the extra brass debris I've got on the plinth. It's photography is always a problem with me when I'm trying to take photographs of anything. But if you want some ideas, go see Night Shift. Obviously it's on tanks more than diodes, but the same thing applies. So the plinth, I believe, is Oakfield plinth here in the UK. Beautiful plinths. It's made of yew. I've got another smaller brass plinth, which I'm going to use on all my stuff from now on because I really like them. It all adds to the expense. I think it's about £7, and that was from El Greco when I bought some other bits and pieces. They also sell those now. But yeah, thoroughly enjoyable project. As I say, don't get put off by what you might think is a complexity. I mean, the pup himself, so the spaniel came in a couple of pieces, and obviously you've got the pipes and things like that. You could always leave the pipes off if you don't want to use them. you know, it's your figure, you do what you want with it. But yeah, in general, well, not just in general, that everything went fine. You have to do your research on parachutes. I mean, it's amazing whether it's whatever figure you do, whether it's small wargaming figures, large scale figures, scale modelling, everything involves research, which I actually find is quite enjoyable. So that I'm not saying the parachute harness itself is absolutely correct. I've done what I can do with the photographs I've seen online. The coloured speaking tube, mine is, I didn't go for the yellow one that's shown on the box art. I've gone for, it's got very like pinky violet, lavender, that type of colour I'd seen. Now I'm not sure if that's not white, that's the black as I don't know, it might have been in case it was an original one, so it might well have, those colours may have gone into that and it might not be the original. I've done what I think I like. I saw that and I thought, that's not so much that it was different from the other one, it was just I thought it was easier. How wrong could I be? It took, I think I said on another video, it took longer to do that pipe than it did to do most of the other chunks that I've painted in, you know, particularly one go. I think it was 4 or 5 attempts before I finally got that, and even then it's not 100% neat, but by then I just thought, I've done as much as I can do here, it's time to move on. So yeah, this, as I say, this is a tribute, although it's a tribute to the few, so the Battle of Britain pilots. I don't care if it's seen in bad taste, but it's actually a tribute to my pop Barclay. He died away. He died aged 10 a couple of years ago, and obviously that's his flowers and that's his little caskets in that green box above my head. That's why the flowers are always there. My wife gets me them flowers for herself as well, but as in we both get him these flowers every week. Yeah, so it's a tribute to my little pal. Hopefully I'm going to be able to stick some photographs up of him, and that will be my tribute to him, because I miss him every day, every minute of every day. So I've got my other one here, Archie, who's pooping about somewhere, but he very much is my wife's. He adopted my wife from an early age, and apart from working him and trading him and taking him out and that, he's all over my wife. Where Barclay, it was the opposite. He was always following me around. So yeah, little bloke, rest in peace. I love you to bits. So before I get upset, let's go down and have a look at the bust. Right guys, thanks for joining me at the bench. As usual, there isn't a lot of room. I have swept it all away to put the light box on, but that just wasn't working for me for whatever reason. It seemed to work on my other, I think my other bust or tank even, I think it was, that I put in there, but nothing was working right light-wise when I put this on. So I've just gone back to the usual bit of card. So I apologise if you get to see all the rubbish-strewn desk, which is going to have to be cleaned off probably tomorrow now. So this is our guy, as I say, beautiful sculpt. I couldn't see any particular blemishes. There were a couple of mould lines which you're going to get. Nothing heavy duty and nothing in particularly hard places to reach. Yeah, I can't really fault it, to be honest with you. I'll say if I thought there was something wrong with it, you'd know about it, especially when I do the unboxings. But here at the end of the project, I'm still working on the faces. The face, obviously, depending on the light, changes. Some of the photographs I'd taken were really murky and really dulled everything down too much. So this is the best I can do at the moment. But yeah, I've put some photographs on at the end, by the way, just to have a look. I don't think the... Hang on, this... I was going to say now these are shining under the lights now. I don't think that came out too bad, the actual glass effect on the actual goggles themselves. The pop didn't come out too bad. Barclay is black, so I've painted this guy black. I've painted him later in life because almost to the few weeks before he passed away, he was absolutely a live wire, even at 10. And that's how he used to jump up on the back of the settee, run along the back, and dive down my shoulder if you wouldn't let him to sit on your lap for a hug or something. He actually got a white chest, but obviously the pop's crawling over the back, and you'll never see that in real life. I didn't want to get it too blue with highlights and things, so I've not gone over the top. Yeah, when you see the box art, it might just be my reading of it, but I think that I might be wrong, but it almost looked like the box artist had painted this white or green, same as the life preserver. I might be wrong on that, and just might be me looking at the colours differently. But from all the ones I've seen, don't forget to paint this brown, because it's a fabric that actually holds where these studs, not studs, where these rivets are. They hold obviously the main straps of the parachute in place, and they're obviously all connected to that fabric. You could go lighter on the life preserver. As I say, this is an early war one, so it's not yellow. Because I went darker, and I didn't want to go too dark on the writing. It doesn't. I mean, in one sense, it's good not showing it because it's obviously faded. But I did as best as I could on that one, on the writing side of it. Obviously, it'll be stenciled. But yeah, let's get back a bit with our. That's a problem. I'm just putting one card behind, getting it all in focus. I keep getting half the desk on as well. But I think that's about all I can say for it, really. My scarf could have been neater. It is what it is. It's gone now. It's done. As I say, there's a longer pipe. In fact, I've got it still on the desk here. I'll put that in my spares for a while. You never know. But that goes, I think, in there. And where it is on the box art, it would go down the front of him more or less, which would hide my rubbish attempt at doing this here, the pretend writing and the arrow and that. But I was too scared of I'd super glued these in here, and I was too scared of getting wet super glue over everything else and marking what I'd done, or snapping these. So I really went with how it naturally wanted to go. And yes, I could have pushed that in somehow, but I'm happy with that the way it is. And as I say, these might have been a lot lighter or even white, but it got like a lilac-y, pinky type tinge to it, and that's how I've done it. So yeah, there we go. So let me just make sure I get this the title right. This is Life Miniatures. It's a 1/10 scale resin bust. It says LM-B009, I suppose that's the code for it. It's called The Few, RAF Fighter Pilot, 1940 Battle of Britain. And it's got a quick, the usual thing here off Winston Churchill, which was only a very one sentence of a big speech he made. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. It was sculpted by Seung Yup Lee. I'm sorry if I've butchered that. And painted by Sang Yun Lee. Sorry, the box art, that is. Sorry. I was slandering him with my paintwork. Or her. I think it's him. But yeah, that's the best I can do. So guys, just before I go, let's get our next project in line. This is, I've used a brass plinth, which I'm going to put some masking tape round before I start painting it. Although it'd come off with a bit of IPA or whatever. But I find that now is a better idea of it. And the wood itself is just a block of wood I'm using to hold it as I paint. I prefer that than using the actual plinth. She's cleaned off as best as I can do. There was a couple of nasty seam lines, which I wish they weren't there across the shoulders and that, because they're really hard to get into in here. So it'll be interesting when I put some primer on to see how they show up. Leaving everything else off on this one for the moment. So as you probably saw in my unboxing, she's holding two no theatre masks, and I just think between the hands, one's got like it's like a devil with horns and everything, and it'll just get it all in the way. So this part of the bust will be painted first. I can't remember if the arms of an Oiran are whitened or not. So I've got to keep checking up on that, because if they're not, then I'll, because I prefer painting all the skin tones roughly at the same time. But yeah, there was some filling in this, filling at the back here particularly, a bit around the headpiece that you put on, hairpiece even. How these other small pieces, I don't know yet. I'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. If I have to fill them in situ while the rest is painted, then so be it. But yeah, that's our next project. That's our Oiran bust from Alexandros Miniatures. But this is the finished article, he says. As I say, it's on let's quick dash down. I think this is Oakfield. It's the business is called. But that's a nice piece of yew. I love yew trees. But yeah, really nice. I decided to go with the more ready front rather than the white front on that one. Again, purchased from El Greco. I've got no tie-ins with any of these people I've mentioned. It's only where I bought them from. Right, guys, thank you very much. There'll be photographs at the end. Thank you for following along on the project. I know bust painting and that isn't a big thing with a lot of, when it comes to my views, I don't get a lot of views on these, but of all the things I do, it's my favourite. As I say, I said to my wife, I'm going to have a bust or a large display figure, 75mm figure, a 90mm figure, whatever. I'm going to be doing one now in the background all the time, just to get better at it, because I'm not going to get better at it if I only do 2 or 3 a year, Right. Sorry for the background noise again. We've got a whole street load of builders doing different houses, and they're competing with each other to make as much noise as possible. But the lads and lasses have got jobs, and that's what counts. So look after yourselves, guys. Coming up videos, do I have anything? I should have some Vietnam 28mm figures to show you. The T38 1 in 35 scale tank, having a few problems with the tracks. You couldn't make it up. You could. But you'd be living in my world. But yeah, so I'm trying my best with that. I put it down and discussed the tracks yesterday, and picked up my Starfighter and had a lot more success building the cockpit and that. So yeah, the Starfighter's coming along. I've built up some 1 in 35 scale figures, 2 from the tank kit and 1 the Waffen SS guy from Kharkov. So he was going to get sprayed today, but it looks like I've run out of time, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. Yeah, and we've got the Napoleonic Commission Dragoons. They're almost done, apart from I've got to start 2 trumpeters in the next couple of days, and then get them based, and there'll be a show and the final reveal of those fellas coming up. So yeah, lots to talk about, lots to see and do, and we'll see each other very soon on another video.